Alright, so you want to teach your dog one of the coolest tricks out there? In this explainer, we're not just going to teach rollover. We're going to unlock a really powerful, positive way to communicate with your best friend.
Okay, let's jump right in. Because teaching rollover is so much more than just a party trick, you know? It's really a way to deepen your bond and build this stronger, more intuitive connection with your dog. I want you to think of this whole process as learning a new language. You're not just barking commands, you're actually having a conversation. You're working together to achieve a common goal, and that is a total game changer.
So before we get into the nuts and bolts of how to do this, let's talk about the why. Because understanding the simple science behind this method is going to make the whole process so much smoother and way more successful for both of you.
You've probably heard the term positive reinforcement, right? But it's more than just being nice or handing out treats. It's about creating a super clear system where your dog knows exactly which action earned them that reward. It turns learning into this fun and motivating game for them.
Now here's something that might surprise you. Skipping corrections, like saying no or isn't just kinder, it's actually more effective. Think about it like this. If you are learning a new skill and someone was constantly pointing out your mistakes, you'd get hesitant, right? Same for your dog. A positive-only approach builds confidence and keeps them excited and willing to try.
To make our communication absolutely crystal clear, we use something called a marker. Usually it's a short, sharp word like yes. Think of it like a camera shutter. Click. It captures the exact moment your dog does the right thing. That word tells them that what you just did right there is what earned you the treat. It just speeds up the whole learning process like you wouldn't believe.
Okay, so now we're at a fork in the road. There are two main paths you can take to teach rollover, luring and shaping. And honestly, the best one really depends on your dog's personality. You know, a super confident, food-crazy dog might take to luring in a second, while a more thoughtful, maybe sensitive dog might totally thrive with shaping. Let's look at both.
So here's the easiest way to think about it. Luring is kind of like giving your dog the answer key. You're using a treat like a magnet to guide them where you want them to go. Shaping, on the other hand, is more like giving them a puzzle. You reward them for figuring out each little piece on their own.
And this chart really lays out the trade-offs. Luring gets you results fast, which is awesome, but you do run the risk of your dog becoming dependent on seeing that treat. Shaping, well, it definitely takes more patience, but it builds a much stronger, more reliable behavior in the long run because the dog truly understands what it's doing.
All right, first up, let's walk through the luring pathway. This is usually the quickest way to get that first successful roll, which makes it a fantastic starting point for most dogs and their humans.
But before we even start, you need two things. First, your dog has to have a solid lie-down cue. Second, you need treats that are so good your dog would do just about anything for them. Seriously, we're not talking about their everyday kibble. Think tiny, soft, smelly little pieces of chicken or cheese, something they can swallow fast so you can keep the training moving.
Okay, so you've got your dog in a down. The key here is a slow, smooth motion. Hold that amazing treat right at their nose and slowly guide their nose towards their opposite shoulder. As their head turns to follow that treat, their body will naturally shift and they'll kind of flop onto their hip. The second that hip hits the floor, mark it with yes and pop that treat in their mouth.
Now, getting them to roll all the way onto their back can be the trickiest part, because it's a pretty vulnerable position for a dog. From their shoulder, just continue that lure in a nice arc up and over their spine. Be super patient here. Reward any small attempts. Even a slight rock backward is progress. Once they're comfy with that, continue the motion all the way to the other side, and they'll complete the roll. And when they do that first full roll, you give them a jackpot. A jackpot isn't just one treat. It's a small handful of treats tossed on the floor. It's a mini party. It's a huge celebration that creates this neurological aha moment and really locks in the learning. It tells your dog, yes, you did something absolutely amazing. Okay, so that was luring. Now let's explore that second path, shaping. This method is just perfect for building a dog's confidence and problem-solving skills, and it's especially great for dogs that might be a little bit timid or sensitive to being physically guided.
With shaping, your timing and your patience are everything. You're not guiding them at all. You start by just waiting for them to turn their head, and you mark and reward that. Once they're offering head turns consistently, you raise the criteria. Now you only reward a head turn that also has a little weight shift. You see, you're like a scientist, carefully observing and rewarding each tiny step that leads to that final amazing roll. This method truly teaches your dog how to learn.
So, you've got the roll down. Awesome. But how do you make it a reliable trick that you can show off anywhere? Let's talk about adding cues, troubleshooting, and really building that consistency.
Now, the sequence here is absolutely critical. You only add a cue once the physical action is perfect. First, turn your food lure into an empty hand signal. Once they follow that empty hand reliably, then you add the verbal cue. You say, roll over, pause for a second, then give the hand signal they already know. That way the word starts to predict the motion they're about to perform.
Okay, let's talk about the big one, the most common sticking point by far. Your dog gets onto its side and then nothing. They just won't go over. Don't worry, it almost always boils down to one of two reasons. And once you figure out which it is, the solution is pretty straightforward.
You have to become a detective. Is your dog feeling anxious about being in that vulnerable belly-up position? Or is the hard floor just plain uncomfortable on their spine? If it's fear, you need to build their confidence. Reward them like crazy for just lying on their side. Keep sessions super short and fun. If it's discomfort, the fix is easy. Move to a soft rug, a dog bed, or go out on the grass. The solution completely depends on the cause.
The classic case of show me the money. Your dog will only do the trick if they can see the treat in your hand first. This is super common. It's called lure dependency. And don't worry, there's a brilliant way to fix it without frustrating your dog.
This is all about building trust. Instead of just making it harder and harder, you mix it up. Do a couple of easy reps with the treat in your hand. Then try just one with an empty hand, and then go back to an easy one with the treat. This 2 steps forward, 1 step back pattern keeps their confidence sky high and teaches them that a reward is always coming, even if they can't see it right now.
You know, when you really get down to it, teaching this trick is about so much more than just the trick itself. It's a perfect little snapshot of your entire relationship. When you use these methods, you're not just training a behavior, you're building a real partnership based on crystal clear communication and mutual trust.
By embracing this whole process, you've unlocked such a powerful new way to communicate with your dog. You haven't just caught a trick, you've learned a new language. And that opens the door to a lifelong journey of learning together, strengthening that incredible bond every single step of the way.